Welcome back to another edition of Check Call. Don't forget to subscribe to Check Call, the newsletter on FreightWaves.com if you haven't already. Today we welcome back the one and only Sean Smith, VP of Product and Client Services at Denim. Welcome back, Sean.
Hey! Oh, I'm so glad to be back. We were just saying it's been far too long, and I'm so happy to be here.
I am too. This is, first of all, we're covering my favorite thing. And since we've already gotten your history, how you ended up at Denim, et cetera, we're just diving right in today. And my favorite thing, which is freight audit and payment, which I understand that's not something that a lot of people are into. But honestly, it's kind of it's like the, I don't know, I feel like it's like the underrepresented child of the supply chain industry. It keeps everything moving, but everybody just doesn't care about it.
Well, in your LTL world, it's also a dear cousin to how LTL operates, is based on how the freight bill is done.
But like it's something that it's like the whole rest of the world in supply chain. They didn't think about it until there started being shortages. And I feel like nobody thinks about freight payment until you don't get paid.
Yes. Oh, that's 100% true. Hey, are you going to pay this invoice? I don't think this is in the right format. Well, you had 30 days to tell us whether or not that was the case.
I absolutely love it. In the world of freight payment, because like we kind of have there's some fraud, there's fraud everywhere. It's just like you throw a stick and we're getting different kinds of fraud. I'm not even going to touch the freight payment fraud at this exact moment because that is a plenty. But do you guys have some big news lately? Denim and Carrier Shirt formed a little partnership. What was the reason? I'm sorry, no.
I love the Carrier Shirt people. So as you know, in the fraud arena, there is a lot of bad guy talk, which is fair and reasonable and makes perfect sense. But there is not enough good guy talk of like, hey, they actually pay on time. They are not fraudulent, right? And so we connected with the Carrier Assure folks and Cassandra team who have been fantastic to work with. And we have provided basically a data pipeline to them so that we can tell them who the good people are, who pays on time, who's reliable, who, makes their carriers whole every single day, right? And so the Carrier Assure folks are adding Denim badges and Denim data for folks that we have the great fortune of working with, so that people know that they're on the up and up. And so it's contributed to Carrier Assure's like Denim scorecard and broker scoring system. And Cassandra can explain it much better than me, but yeah, that's what I got.
Well, our conversation with Cassandra will have to be another date because we have you today. And I like that. It's kind of the it's the what I like to call the nerdy side of verification. It's more than just like, oh yeah, your MC checks out, we're good to go. It's like, no, you actually are paying people, you're paying your bills, and it's just like the nice little security blanket, if you will, of these guys. They're actually not that bad.
Hey, they do okay. And like that's part of like the part of the purpose of why we wanted to work with the Carrier Share folks is to create this like a little bit more of like a trust validation or trust verification, a little bit more of a equal business standing between somebody you want to work with. You kind of have some reason to believe that there's a good partner. There's like so much, like especially when you get stuff off a load board, you've never worked with someone before, you're like immediately your guard is up like the whole time, which like rightfully so, as everyone has learned their lesson. If you can throw a stick, you can find somebody who has. But like at least there's some people that actually do what they're supposed to be doing, and we can help prove it. Especially small brokers, honestly, where like they come up and down. I mean, you see a lot of Kevin's data on Brush Pass. That's like they come in and out seemingly on like a quarterly or monthly basis. And for those that are legit, like we want people to know it, and we're happy to brag about our clients.
I like it. It's kind of that, like you said, especially if you're working with someone new, it's just like that extra layer of like, okay, well, we at least know that they pay okay, so it's probably unlikely that they're going to be a shyster, or in which case they're just a very good shyster who is paying their carriers on time. Which, congratulations for being a good shyster.
You accidentally are doing a great job.
You accidentally have failed up. Okay, so moving into the world of those tricky shysters, if you will, what are some of those common fraud schemes or situations that you're seeing now? Like, what are those that you're like, ooh, if it comes across your desk, you're like, 90% sure it's going to be this.
Yeah, have seen a couple. So on the payment side, we will see people sending fraudulent, "Hey, my account changed. Update my routing and account number," which is like always a lot of fun, right? From a Gmail that's, ridiculous, or it doesn't get vetted through the broker, or it doesn't come through whatever domain they already signed up with. So that's always a lot of fun. Um, we are also, in addition to Carrier Sure, working with the folks at My Carrier Portal and Highway to be able to import packets and payment settings and kind of connect our clients to, other data sources that aren't us, right? Like, we maintain our own network of carriers and payment settings and factoring assignments and all that sort of stuff. And they're a great backstop for us, and for our clients to make sure that they're doing the right stuff too. So yeah, changing payment accounts, account numbers is always tricky. The other one, and this is kind of a bummer, is like inside fraud, where like you have an agent that is like running freight with a shipper who's like also their friend. And so they're like making legit documents look legit, that like a truck never happens, and they're trying to move money. Like, inside fraud is the most dangerous, I would say, because it can go on undetected for so long. And like, depending on who is defrauded where, they have, they know where all the keys are and all the bodies you buried, and know which controls to avoid and stuff like that. So that stuff makes me like extra nervous.
I have to say that the payment or their banking or routing information changing, that's a scam that is not unique to supply chain. That one's been around a minute, which is why I always say, if you get a weird note like that, don't call the phone number on the note. Call the person that you used to talk to there to just say, "Hey, did you change your banking information?" Because I'm gonna say most of the time they're gonna say, "What? No."
Yeah, pick up the phone and ask people. Just taking their word for it, it's probably not going to be a good time.
Right, if you just randomly get a letter, who? Who does that at this point in time? Like, who sends a letter instead of just being like, "Hey, you're gonna get a letter from us notifying that our banking information's changed." Because usually if banking information's changed, it's like a whole situation and you're gonna get at least like 4 phone calls about it, hopefully.
We changed our bank, which I do not wish on my worst enemy to change your bank. We changed our bank towards I want to say in April, and we finally got the account closed and we're not getting money in it anymore the 11th of April. Like, it was a full year of us telling people to stop sending money to this account because we're not using it anymore. And the bank wouldn't close the account until we stopped getting money in it. And it was a full year of getting people to change it. So, like, on one end, I appreciate the diligence of like not sending money that should be going to us somewhere else. On the other end, this is a very long and painful experience that I wouldn't wish on anyone.
The other thing that you said that I liked is, the insider fraud. So, especially, I have worked at some large brokerages and some small brokerages, and some publicly traded ones and some not publicly traded ones. Obviously, if you are publicly traded, you do have to follow the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which means that the person who enters pricing cannot be the person that cuts checks or audits pricing or anything like that. And then, which is great, and it's a fantastic rule for a reason. Because then I have worked at some smaller brokerages that I was entering pricing, creating customers, and auditing that pricing. Basically, one step shy of actually cutting the check, and that all really existed in my power. And I said, "Hey, fun fact, I could create a fake load, a fake customer, set it up, get it approved because I handled that as well, create an entire pricing contract for them in the system, um, and no one would stop me. So perhaps we need to change some permissions." And they said, just don't fraud.
Just try not to fraud.
Yeah, just please don't. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not because that's not who I am. But if I was a less
Lucky for
savory
them.
character, but lucky for them, if I was a less savory character, that could potentially be a huge problem. So this is why I say like smaller brokerages, especially, just because someone has admin permissions does not mean that they should keep them, you know?
And don't share usernames and passwords, please. Please don't share them. They're not good to share. We have a we have our we rolled out this Denim for Teams. You pick your permissions. You can only see some customers and not all. You can only see some reports, not all. And people can kind of pick and choose what their roles would look like. And then people will share their passwords anyway. We have a very funny early Denim days story of two partners with the same password, both logging into our in-app chat and arguing with each other because one was trying to do something else, and our support team, God love them, was just kind of like, we're gonna let this go and see where they end up, and like do that. Not good.
No, it does not sound good. But yeah, like let's maybe like this like just if we have enough fraud hitting at us from the outside, maybe just tighten up some of those permissions on the inside. The lady that is your accounts payable and like physically creating and cutting the check should probably not also be able to create customers or payments out of thin air.
Or approve payments. Approving payments is a step that some people decide not to do. We would not recommend.
Yeah, do not recommend. Just kind of cut down on if somebody's a little angry that day at work. We don't want them just skimming $20 or $1,000 off the pot every time they're a little angry.
Even if it's their last day, or is it fair game on your last day?
I mean, you can do anything you want on your last day of work.
That's what I heard.
It might be your last day, and I can't guarantee if you embezzle, I can't guarantee you won't end up in jail. So I would not put that on your list of things to do. But anyway, back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. I need to stop. When it comes back to the fraud conversation, I'm a broker. I'm sitting there. I've got this cool new carrier, and they have let's say I get them through Carrier Shark. They've got the Denim tick on there. They seem legit. What red flags should I watch out for, even if they're unvetted, or what? What are some of those that I should probably run away from?
I think that the advice that you'll typically get from people is like, you want to see so many safety checks, you want to see their authority being of a certain age, and like that sort of thing, which like I can understand. Here are some things that you might also want to look at. If it's a broker and you're a carrier, run a credit check. It might cost you $30, but like it could save you $1,800, right? Or whatever could save you a lot of money. It's like run a credit check for $30. Sometimes your factoring company will have them, and you'll be able to check them for free. You can check them for free with us. And sometimes they won't. And if you're running it yourself, definitely run a credit check. I would also look at like your email address that they're from, click on their website, look at their email signature, see if they exist on LinkedIn, see if their phone number is legit. Like do a couple of just kind of general internet sleuthing, stalking, ex-girlfriend style checks on their legitimacy of the world. And I think that's going to make you feel a lot better. I think everybody feels a lot better after they do something like that.
Exactly. I'm not saying you need to go find their articles of incorporation in whatever state they have been incorporated in. We don't have to go that far. You don't have to see who filed the articles of incorporation and match it to the person talking to you. But definitely, if I go to contact us and the email that pops up for me to email them, or an email attached to somebody's LinkedIn, if it's at company.com, great. If I'm getting an email from company.io, company.co, maybe I don't want to do that, you know?
Yeah, and they also, people do tricky stuff with the URLs too. Like they can make especially we were talking about AI earlier, like especially with how easy it is to spin up an AI clone website. Like it's really easy. Like a ton of people get these like Bank of America, log into your account, and they have a page that just like looks like Bank of America. Like it's very easy for people to do that. And it's gotten about 1,000 times easier over the last 6 months than to be able to do that before.
Those Bank of America websites, or those scam websites, they used to be like very clearly like very poorly done, where it's like Bank of America logo, but like it's got like yellow text
It's
or
like
something like
it's
that.
like Bank of America. They've got like an O at the end
Yes.
instead of the A or something. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's like a website straight out of the 90s, and you're like,
I didn't click on it. I didn't click
"Nope,
on it at all. It wasn't me. Yeah.
no, it's fine." But like they've gotten fancier now to the point where you're like, "Actually, wait, is this real?" Um, but yeah, I just also am vehemently anti-clicking links in emails now because I never know what's real.
I think that's like generally good practice though. Like I mean, especially you probably get a bunch of random stuff in your email, but like there's like we have customers that are like, can you attach this invoice, or like should be a PDF or whatever, where they're like pretty specific about how they want, because they're only allowed to do certain things, which like I can totally understand. Like that totally makes sense. We need to have a way to get you your information in some form or fashion,
Exactly.
but like you got like I understand you don't want to put yourself at risk.
Exactly. And good on those IT departments. Those guys are really holding the fort down on that
They're
email
fighting the good
sector.
fight out there.
They
Yeah.
are. I have tried to send many an Excel file. Like I have been in the middle of like a bid season and I have gone to send an Excel file and they're like, "Yeah, so our IT team won't release it to us. So we don't know what to do." And I'm like, "Say less. We can figure this out." And so like I'm never going to be mad about that because that is fighting the good fight, too big of a file, kick it out. But when it comes to, maybe I'm a broker and I have just been like, the closest we've gotten to something with fraud prevention is, putting a limitation on our like time of service, or reminding people to change their password every month. That's kind of it. What is kind of that one thing that you're like, hey, if you haven't done this yet, you probably should do this?
The By the way, changing your password every month doesn't do anything. It doesn't make you more secure. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Fun fact, it doesn't make you more secure. Don't believe me? Stanford said it. So think about that. The two things I would tell you to do though, I know you only asked for one. One is like use like some sort of onboarding packet kind of system. Highway and MCP, we really like those folks. Use it, collect information. You can typically, if you're a carrier who has used one of them before, you could just basically copy and paste your packet over. It doesn't have to be a whole new thing every single time. And you can get a wealth of information from those services, and they'll like provide all that to you as a part of your kind of a subscription with them. The other thing that I would say is use some sort of credit checking or business validation checking tool. Freight Validate is a former customer of ours, runs it. His name is Dale. It's pretty neat. CarriSure is great. If you have a credit checking tool, like that's another good one too. The other thing is like, it's not always just fraud. Like they might just not be good at it. Like that's like another, like it might not, right? I mean, for us, like most of our losses or near losses or, whatever are like sort of incompetence related and not really, people trying to deceive us. They're just like not great at it. And like, that's hard, right? Because like most people come into this space, they love sales, they love making markets, and like running a brokerage is great. But then like, you also have to pay rent. You got margin on your freight. You've got an employee in your staff. You've got insurance you got to cover. Like there's a ton of stuff that goes into running a business. And so I definitely can empathize with people who are like, this is not what I signed up for. But like, it's hard. Like it's 100% hard.
I think that there's a decent amount of incompetence in that goes hand in hand with freight or with fraud. Whether it's just you didn't think of it, or because there's been times where like I've heard stories of someone like getting like like they were the target of some fraud or whatever, and I'm like, that's stuff I would have never thought of to even like try to protect or to do something about. But I will say the inside fraud is that's you can kind of fix that.
Do background checks for employees. Do references. People are afraid to do references because they don't want to get on the phone and talk to a stranger. Do the reference, like shadow box in the corner before you call references. Just do it. You should do it.
Also, just generally check your permissions. One person should not have the ability to create customers, approve freight, move it, put pricing in, approve payments, and cut the check. Like that should not be one person. So it's just not. It's not it. But neither should a CFO have that power. Unless you're like a team of two people in the company, you should not have that power. So
use a shared drive if that's the case. Just have everything all in the same place so we all know. Don't be hiding stuff.
yeah, don't be squirrely. Don't be weird. Don't be that guy or gal. No shade either way.
No shade.
Um, so I guess we are towards the end of our time today. So Sean, if you could build a house out of any food, what would you choose?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this, and what I'm going to go with is bagels. I live in Massachusetts, and it can get cold up here. And if you leave a bagel out on the counter for like 2 days, that is as good as a brick, right? And so I will build a brick house of bagels. It will be warm, and if I have a fire inside of my house, I can start to toast some of my bagels and eat them if I am hungry as well.
That is fair. What would your mortar be? Like if you're building a brick house out of bagels? And also, follow-up question to the follow-up question, would you be would each room be a plain bagel or would each room be like a different would you have like an onion, everything, a sesame seed, a blueberry room?
Yeah, I think the mortar first of all would have to be cream cheese. There's no other option. That it is that like butter is going to be too thin. It's not going to
Mhm.
be good enough. And also if you use regular mortar, that doesn't make any sense. So
Ooh,
it'd have to be cream cheese. And
okay.
then as far as your room selection, I would say go by mood. Sometimes you're a cinnamon swirl type mood, and that's like where you're at right now. And then other times, maybe you're everything. Okay. I wouldn't want to sweep the floor if you're living in the everything bagel room. That would be a big
That's fair.
mess. But yeah, I would say go with what you feel.
Maybe like the everything could be like the back porch, so it's just outside and the birds can come eat it.
It's a
Um,
natural bird feeder. That's amazing.
exactly.
I did not think about that.
Exactly, but I would not be mad if I, like, woke up in, like, a chocolate chip bagel room, you know?
We had a sales kickoff in New York this week, and so I've had a bagel every single day. And this question could not be more perfectly timed because I've been thinking like I've had bagels on my mind.
I love this so much. Okay, Sean, if someone has the bagel recommend if someone has the best bagel recommendation, I'm gonna say in the Massachusetts, New York, New England area, where can they find you? Also, if they're like, "Hey, we need help with freight payment fraud," where can they find you?
Yes, for either of those topics, only those two though. You can find me on LinkedIn, Sean Smith on LinkedIn. We have denim.com. So if you go to denim.com, not to brag, contact us and then yeah, you can find us there too. We're happy to help you.
Awesome. I bet, Levi Strauss is really wishing that they had denim.com because
Super
that's
jealous. We also
a missed
get
opportunity.
Denim Limited factories and stuff that email us stuff all the time. Like having a denim.com and then a phone number is also a really interesting adventure. Yeah, we get our daily jean sale. Hi, I'd like to return these jeans.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find Check All the Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts like Apple Podcast and Spotify. Don't forget to check out all the other incredible FreightWave shows and don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter on freightwaves.com/checkcall. See you on the internet.